Welcome to My Trans Best Friend. Once again, back, Zappin and Yappin, episode 3. I'm here with Angie. We are getting electrolysis. Oh, Angie says hi. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi to the microphone a little bit closer so they can actually hear you? Okay, here we go.
Well, hello there.
That's how Angie sounds, everyone. Yeah. She's a sweetie. We're here at 8 in the morning. It's not even 8 in the morning. No, it's early. 7:50 something. And on my way to electrolysis, or I guess where I am right now, I looked at my weather app before I left. It was a drizzle. Y'all, a drizzle. And like I said, not like one of those drizzles where it's like, I don't need a raincoat. I don't need an umbrella. Definitely not an umbrella. I don't need any of that stuff. All right, first zap of the day. Here we go. Because I numbed at home too. Oh, no air today?
Oh, you want the air?
I don't need the air. I just...
The air is on. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Push the air button. So there's like a little...
I turned it on again. Yep.
Okay. There's like a little air hiss that normally happens. Desensitizer. All right, here we go. First of the day. Let's see how my body is going to react today. We got 4 hours, by the way, ahead of us. Ready, set. Okay, there it is. Not so bad. Yep, I feel the electricity crackling. Ooh! There it is. I didn't shave it. I didn't shave it all this week, as per your request. So hopefully, because look, again, I like to... Ooh, that's a spicy one. I like to be hairless down there, even when I haven't been doing electrolysis. Shaving, I don't like any hair. In fact, I don't like hair anywhere on my body at all, except for the top of my head and my eyebrows. Armpits, no. Arms, legs, absolutely not. Right now, my legs have like a little bit of hair on them, and I'm not into it. I had to keep my beard because we're doing 4 hours of electrolysis today, okay? And there's a possibility we might run out of hairs down there, which is fantastic. But because of that, I have some hair on my face, and I don't like that. But just in case we need to fill an hour or two if she runs out, we have face hair as well. I don't know if you can see if you're watching this. You might not be able to see it, but it's definitely there. Okay, so spicy. It was like a very light, almost like a mist. And I said, light rain for the next hour. And I said, well, if this is light rain, no problem whatsoever. So I walked on over to not a Razor scooter, a Lime scooter. I'm into Lime scooters these days. We like Lime scooters. I have the premium pass, which really doesn't save you that much money, but whatever. Got on, and as soon as I started to ride, it went from like a light drizzle, like a misting to like a light to medium to heavy drizzle. To basically it just started raining, and I had my AirPods in. I had my bag with like a pillow inside. That the one, if you're watching the video, I currently have a pillow behind my neck, like a neck pillow. Ooh, spicy. So anyways, I arrived drenched at Angie's door. My glasses were completely, you know how glasses get in the rain, wet. They get wet. Also, when oh my, we're really doing it today, huh, Angie? Okay. As I was, so the whole thing with the Lime scooter is you have to like hook it up to like a pole or something when you're done riding it, because they don't want people just stealing them, which people do anyways. But oh my, either I'm sensitive today or I don't know, but we're in for it today, y'all. Real quick, if this is your first episode, by the way, I know I'm scatterbrained, but welcome to this podcast. That's all this is. We're doing electrolysis. This is a series I'm calling Zapping. Oh, sorry, I twitched. I almost kicked Angie. We don't want that. Please no. Let's see if we can make it through electrolysis without kicking.
Turn it lower.
No. Definitely don't turn it lower. We want to keep it high. I don't want to have to redo these hairs. So electrolysis, if you didn't know, is when they take you get it. I'm getting it because I'm getting bottom surgery, and I'll explain what that is in a second. But electrolysis is the only means that we have to permanently remove hair. It's different than laser hair removal. Laser is like, like if you ever seen a laser, it's like doesn't when you zap, it doesn't really touch you. It's just like light, right? Kind of like a beam. Electrolysis, on the other hand, is a needle, and they stick the needle, which is what Angie is doing currently. You can't see her, but that's what she's doing. She's got like a light out. She's got gloves on. She's got like this needle that's attached to a tube with electricity coming through it, and the needle goes in and it zaps the hair follicle, like zaps. But it's not like you have to stick it into the needle, like slide it in, or the follicle, slide the follicle. Y'all, my brain will load eventually, I promise. You slide the needle into the follicle, no blood, no drawing of blood. It's not like you're bleeding from this. But you slide it in and you zap, and it stays in there for like 10 to 15 seconds. And if it works correctly, it prevents the hair from ever growing again. And there's a couple mechanisms. There's thermolysis, right? That's like heating it. And then there's electrolysis. Is that the other one? Or
Yes, electrolysis.
Yep. And then so like electrifies it, I guess, zaps it. 2 ways to make sure it doesn't come back. Sometimes you have to go over them again. Hopefully not. But once it's gone, it's gone. It doesn't grow back ever. As opposed to laser, which is a reduction, right? If you zap it with a laser, you're not actually touching it technically. It's just like light or energy. The hair might grow back slower or lighter or white or, blonde or whatever.
And it doesn't work on blonde, white, red hair.
Yep, doesn't work on blonde hair because it's like all about pigment. So if you have blonde hair, it doesn't work. You can zap all you want. It's not going to happen. Now, I'm getting electrolysis on my nether regions currently. Ruth is literally down in the trenches. God bless her. Because I'm going to get bottom surgery soon. Hopefully sooner rather than later, which means that I'm going to turn my cake pop stick into a donut. You know what I'm saying? I'm going from a zucchini to a what else? A kitty cat? I don't know. A lot of times I see the cat emoji used. I'm looking for the Gucci coochie, the designer coochie, and how they're gonna do that. And actually, I'm gonna put I'm gonna do the content warning right now because I already know what I'm gonna be talking about, at least a little bit. Today I'm gonna talk a lot about surgery, and I'm also gonna talk a lot about sexy things. So I don't think we talked about anything too crazy before this. So we can have content warning right now. And I don't have to like edit in a thing where I'm like, hi everybody, today is a blah, blah, blah. I'll do it right now. We'll do it live. Okay. So yes, what's going to happen is they're going to basically flip the cake pop stick inside out. They're going to take if you imagine, think about it like a banana. Okay. There's the peel of the banana. And then there's the inside of it, right? They're essentially going to take the peel. If I'm not mistaken, they discard the inner parts of it, and they take the peel and they flip it inside out, and put it inside of you to create like a tunnel, essentially, a canal, a vaginal canal. And when that happens, ooh, a spicy one. I'm good. When that happens, you don't want any hair growing inside of you. Have you ever had hair grow inside of you? Hopefully not. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. So the whole thing with bottom surgery is you want to have all the hair permanently gone before you do the surgery. In February, I should probably ask the doctor, if I can name them. Because, yeah, I know that, I don't know. That's something I should probably ask because they don't want any troll. Yeah. Well, I won't name the doctor until I ask to confirm. But in theory, in February, I'm going to be and actually, when I say in theory, I mean, apparently early January, and today's December 30th, 31st, 30th. Today's the 30th. Monday's the new year. Sometime next week, hopefully, maybe early the week after, I'm going to get a phone call to schedule a consult for February, in which the surgeon is going to meet me and look at my nethers and say something to the effect of like, okay, like you're looking pretty good on the hair removal down there, like. And at that point, hopefully, if we have 4 hours of electrolysis ahead of us today, and hopefully as many sessions as possible between now and February, hopefully he'll be like, all right, you're ready. Angie, do you think that I could be ready by February? Angie thinks I could be ready by February, which is freaking crazy. Thank you. Angie says they think I look good. So that's good. So hopefully at that point, in February, I will schedule my date, which is the surgery date, the date in which I will show up and they will perform the surgery on me. I then will, I think the protocol is that you have to live a certain distance from the hospital. And I don't know if there might be rules about like if there's a certain amount of floors up or something, because I remember there's definitely rules about it where like you have to live X number of miles, like less than 2 miles from the hospital, because when you go home, they don't want you to have to like travel far. They don't want you to have to do, and like exert much energy on your way back because you're in rough shape, right? When literally they flipped your genitalia inside out, like you don't want to move any more than you have to. So I guess I don't know what hospital it would be. I have a couple ideas, but luckily I live in the city. Hopefully it will be close enough. What I'd like to avoid is a situation where I like have to like rent a Airbnb for a couple weeks to do like my initial recovery. Hopefully that's not something we have to do. If it is what it is. But I guess we'll see. Oh yeah, spicy. That hurts. Oh wow. In terms of, that one's stuck. That one's sticking with me. It's still hurting. Okay. In terms of the locations for hair removal, there is the actual shaft itself. There is 1 inch around the base, which I believe is where she is currently working. There is the entire cake pop bag, if you will. The bag. Wow, we're in a sensitive area. And then underneath the taint area, right, where the actual canal will be, roughly. Yeah, so that's the plan. I think probably what will happen is my mom will be here. Hopefully my dad will come out. He's a doctor, actually. He's a general practitioner, so it would be nice to have him around, at least for a little bit. He's a busy guy, though, so hopefully. I think he'd come out for this. And then my brother, too. Hopefully all three of them will come out. I think all three of them will. And be there at least for a week or two. Hopefully my mom will stay for longer. I bet my mom will probably stick around for a month or two, is my guess, just to help me recover. Because for I think the first month in particular is like you're basically just in bed the whole time. And I think if I recall correctly from my friend who had this surgery, I think you're supposed to like walk around the house or like walk a certain amount of steps every day just so that you don't get blood clots. Like that's the only reason. Because you certainly don't want to get if you're not moving for that long, like the risk of blood clots is pretty high. And we don't want that. We don't like that. We don't like blood clots. In fact, for that same reason, you have to stop doing estrogen for like a month before, because estrogen does raise the risk of blood clots. Not in a way that's like, oh my God, you shouldn't take estrogen. But in a way that's like, if you are immobile for an entire month, that could be a problem. So yeah. And if I recall, by like month 2 or so, like you're definitely getting to a place where you're a little bit more self-sufficient, right? I think that my friend's brother came to stay with her and he was there for a month, and like that was much needed. And by the end of the month, like she was getting to a place where she could mostly take care of herself. For those of you wondering, because I know you're wondering, wait a minute, Lily. If you have your surgery and you're in bed for a whole month, what does that mean? What does that mean for streams? Because you can't go to restaurants. Well, will you still be streaming? The answer, of course I will. Of course I will. You think I would leave you for a month? I wouldn't do that. I'd be so bored. I want to hang out with y'all. Of course I will. It will just be streams from my recovery bed. What will that look like? I have no idea. We'll have to find activities. Maybe we'll build Legos. That would be fun. Let's build Legos. That'd be cool. Something like that. Maybe we'll do takeout and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, so that is the other thing about the surgery that I kind of wanted to use this time today to just brainstorm out loud to myself and use Angie as a sounding board. Oh, that's another spicy one. I have a video idea that I kind of it's a very like intense, technical, demanding video, sort of. You know, like if you ever seen my TikTok videos, not like this podcast or like the streams. I'll do like a, minute long video. The most recent one I did was, what did I do? I did like these like rings that described like a Venn diagram. Ooh, I did the one with the cake pop. Ooh, spicy. I like to have props to kind of explain basic concepts when it comes to being a trans person. Just like, what does it mean to be trans? And I find that props are helpful. And I have my most intense video idea yet. And I've already begun purchasing things for this video. But the idea is I want to show people the physical process of bottom surgery. I want to, because it's a very difficult to watch. I mean, there's videos, of course, but like most people don't have the stomach for that. I barely have the stomach for that. I really don't, honestly. There's GIFs that are like artist renderings of it, but even that is tough. But on brand for me is food, right? So what I want to do is I want to get a banana split. All right. I want to get a banana, a couple of scoops of ice cream, and I want to say something to the effect of like, next month or next year or whenever, I'm going to get my banana split. Right? Get it? I'm going to get my banana split. And in theory, this should make it past the TikTok filters, fingers crossed, hopefully. Because I'm put a lot of effort in this video, so it'd be a bummer if it got like whatever. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the process of them. I'm going to cut the banana down the middle. I'm going to be like, first they're going to cut the banana down the middle, right? And then inside of the banana, I'm going to place. Do you know those like licorice strings, Angie? You know what I'm talking about? Not Twizzlers. They're like really thin. They're like spaghetti width, and they're long. And I'm going to place like a banana length one inside of it to represent the urethra, because that's an important part of the surgery. Again, trigger warning here. It's kind of gross, but you know, they have to snip it because it's going to be much shorter, right? It's going to be inside of you, or like coming right out, like that however many inches of cake pop stick you have, that's how much they're removing. You still need the urethra. They just need to cut it, right? So I'm going to cut the banana down the middle. I'm going to, I hesitate. I think, I'm not sure if I'm going to include the peel or not. Probably just going to cut the banana down the middle. Maybe like, you know how they do like, ants on a log? You know ants on a log? Like it's like celery with peanut butter. And like they put peanut butter inside of the celery, and then they put raisins on it. Never heard of that? And it looks like ants on a log. No? Oh. Anyways, I think what I'm gonna do is so I'll split the banana down the middle and kind of show it so that there's that red licorice string. Okay, then I'm gonna take a pair of scissors. I'm gonna snip that, and I'm gonna narrate it the whole way through. And like then they snip the licorice. Hopefully people understand what it means. I'll do my best to like intonate what it is without actually saying urethra, because again, this is how what it takes on TikTok. You can't say penis. Absolutely not. You can't say urethra. You can't say. I'm gonna probably not even use the word surgery or any sort of like actual anatomical words. I'm not gonna use. And then I'm gonna take. I think what I'm gonna do is take a spoon and kind of like scoop out the inner parts of the banana to kind of make it look like a banana boat. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like a ridge in it, or like it's gonna be hard because bananas are kind of fragile, and I wonder if I might have to get a couple just to make sure I don't break the bananas. But make it so that the idea is that there's a canal, right? Like core out the banana essentially, to kind of represent the fact that this is becoming a tube. It once was a cylinder, and it is now becoming a tube. And I struggled for a while on what I would do after this because, hold on, changing hands. Uno momento. Okay. I struggled for a little bit about this because I wanted to represent, because essentially what they do is they make a cavern, right, where there wasn't one. There's no space in there right now. There's going to be, but there isn't right now. What I landed on was a spaghetti squash. And a spaghetti squash bisected. So if you kind of cut it down the middle, you know how sometimes they'll like show a cross section of a body where it's like as if you're seeing them from halfway through, so you can see everything in there. I'm going to cut a spaghetti squash all the way down lengthwise so you can see the interior of it. And then I'm going to show the banana going inside of the spaghetti squash to represent carving a hole and then putting the tube inside. What do you think about that, Angie?
I like that. Yeah.
She likes it. I'm hesitant. I hope it works. It might not. Sometimes I get overly ambitious and it doesn't work. But that's the hope. That's the hope. So yeah, I don't know. I guess the banana itself, and this is literally just like this right here is my inner thought process of like how I decide to make videos, and like this one in particular is a real thinker, because bananas are so fragile. I could just use the peel and call that the tube. Like discard just the banana itself. Like have a banana, peel it, throw away the fruit inside, quote unquote. I'd eat it, but and then like show the peel going inside. That actually could work better. Now that I think about it. What do you think? Should I do that? Angie? Yeah, but that kind of kills the banana split metaphor.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And the other thing is I was thinking about ice cream scoops, because balls, right? They're going to remove those.
Yeah.
I was thinking I just show, because the other thing is they use the cake pop bag, the scrotum, and they essentially will put that. Okay, so if you imagine and again, sorry, I know this is kind of gross, but it is what we're talking about here. If you imagine the cake pop stick as a tube, right, with no end, with like basically one of the ends needs like to be capped, right? It needs like an end piece. They kind of cover it with the cake pop bag. That can be used as well as extra skin. Kind of like a if you imagine it. Oh, here's a good one. Like a soft, like when you go to the movie theaters and get like a big cup, you need what are those called? Lid. You need a lid to cover it on one end. That's what the bag is. So it's a metaphor that could literally fall apart as I make it, physically fall apart on me. I might need to do like a trial run just to see if it even looks good. It might not look good. But that's been one of the... Ooh, that's a spicy one. Oh, that's a spicy one. We're good. We're good. So, yeah, that's the current thinking about bottom surgery. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this. I do not... the reason... Angie was very kind to have me for 4 hours today, because we did 4 hours last Saturday, and you told me also, which I only after the fact, that you never done 4 hours of. Have you ever done 4 hours of any other body parts? Okay.
6 hours on a face.
6 hours. 6 hours on a face.
I've done 3 hours in this area
3 hours.
before, but never 4.
Now
You did in one day. Yeah,
Okay.
in one day.
Can I ask why? Because you've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah. Just the
Time.
and also, I don't want too much reaction.
Don't want too much reaction,
Was okay.
but my reaction was okay. Okay, got it.
And we moved around different areas.
We are moving around different areas. That's true.
We limit the amount of reaction in one area.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we are moving around. I mean, there is a lot of real estate in terms of square footage down there. And let me be clear, I'm not saying that I'm like well endowed by any means. I think I'm pretty much average. But I mean, just like in terms of, there's a lot of skin, like taint, when you think about it. You think about how many hair follicles you have down there, it's a lot. Count them, I dare you. You'll lose track very quickly. Anyways, right, so yeah, it'll be really nice, because I'll tell you what, when I was with Katie, who I broke up with, yes, I know, very sad, or we broke up, still kind of heartbroken about that, but getting better. She had this procedure done, and I gotta tell you, it was just like, wow. I think the weird thing is when you see trans women in, I'm going to say it, pornography, which is a lot of times when you see trans women, that is where they are, because there's a huge market for that. Huge market. If you look up on like the Pornhub most searched things, Trans porn is like one of the most popular kinds of porn ever. Look it up. Every year Pornhub releases this report about like what's the most popular, like every state in the United States, like what's the most popular keyword, what are people searching for, and like what about by country and all these things. And trans porn is like, I want to say like it was number 4 or something in the world. I don't know. People love it, which is crazy because I think a lot of the haters are actually just secretly just chasers into trans women, whatever. But what I'm getting at is that a lot of times trans women find employment in sex work, be it making porn or whatever. So you don't think, but as soon as you get bottom surgery, you don't see any trans women with bottom surgery in porn. Usually, there's very few of them, or like if they are, it's more niche. They're out there, but there's less, because I think it's less of a fetish then, right? Because kind of like the majority, I think probably unfortunately, of people who consume trans porn are cis men who are either grappling with their sexuality in a way that's like, why am I attracted to this, right? Because it's a woman, right? It just doesn't matter what parts they have. I'm attracted to this, right? And it's kind of like a fetish thing sometimes too. Anyways, once the bottom surgery happens, it becomes not of interest to those kinds of cis men because the fetish aspect is gone. And I think also, I don't know, there's some neo-vaginas, that's what it's called, neo-vaginas, that look like, that's definitely a neo-vagina. But there's some neo-vaginas that really you wouldn't know. And I think it just depends on the surgeon. I think it depends on how well you recover, depends on what you had to work with to begin with. Anyways, I really don't know what I was getting at there. But the point is that, sorry, I had to move the mic. Neo-vaginas can look really good. I've seen 2 in my life, and the first time I ever saw a neo-vagina was one of my friends. She was probably like 4 or 5 months out from her surgery, which is far enough out that you can like do whatever. Not quite sex, but like you can like be out and about and live your normal life. She showed me in a bathroom stall, because this was one of the, we were at a club and she was like, do you want to see my new? And I was like, yes, I do. So we went into a bathroom stall and she showed me, and I was like, whoa. Even 4 or 5 months out, absolutely could not tell. It looked legit. Like it was legit. Right. And I've posed this question before, and I think this is a very hot topic for people who like to argue the validity of trans people. But for her in particular, she passed as she passed, which means that she did not appear or look trans in any way. Her voice was perfect. She was gorgeous. She has a vagina that, you would never be able to tell that it was a neo-vagina. I guess at that point, you get to a point in your life where like you can absolutely never tell anyone you're trans if you really wanted to. It would be hard not to, especially with your partners, but in theory you could. And the question comes like, she would go on these, oh my God, that's a stingy one. Ooh. She would go on dating apps and not say she was trans. And she'd go on dates with men and not say she was trans. And then she'd have sex with men and not say she was trans, because they would have no way of knowing, because she has a vagina. And it's like, I guess at that point, first off, I don't think any trans person is under any obligation to ever reveal that information. It's just fascinating that you can get that far and be, wow. She had a whole new set of problems though, because, for a lot of times trans women will either not get dates or get the wrong kind of dates from people because, they they read as trans, right? Where literally they get men who, and this is for mostly for because she was interested in men. This is mostly a conversation about straight trans women, but if you appear as trans, you're either going to get chasers who are men who fetishize trans women. They don't particularly respect trans women. They just kind of want to have sex with them and that kind of thing. And then there's also just that's the kind of attention you might be getting. There's some good men out there who might not be chasers and actually legitimately appreciate and like trans women as women, but then there's a lot of chasers. Whereas on my friend's side of things, right, where she is passing, she's not saying she's trans. She has a neo-vagina that you would never know. So like sex and everything can happen and the conversation technically wouldn't need to happen. Once she reveals she's trans, or well, actually backing up a little bit, she would be going on dates with people who wouldn't know, right? So in theory, just like men who, she's got a much broader audience of men potentially, because I think a lot of men just wouldn't date a trans woman just because she says she's trans, unfortunately. But she's going on dates with men who might never have considered dating a trans woman. And then, I don't know, date 2, date 3, it comes up. Then what? Right? Because we all have internalized transphobia. Even I do. Everyone does. We're all taught that it's like kind of weird. And even if you're brought up in a very progressive family where, yes, we accept, we love everyone, getting pronouns right, all these different things, like still internalized transphobia is something we all grapple with. So like what happens when you're on a date with a guy, three dates in, you've had sex, and she says, I'm trans? Yes, it could be a safety concern. 100% could be a safety concern. That's something that person making that choice must know. But also, it shouldn't have to be a safety concern. And like, I remember my friend was telling me the kind of conversation she'd have with guys at that point when she told them, right? She'd be like, okay, well, I'm trans. They'd be like, yeah, okay. And you said you're no longer attracted to me because I told you I'm trans. And she'd be like, the men would be like, yes, that is correct. Okay, why are you no longer attracted to me? I am a woman, right? Yes. I have a vagina. Yes. You can't tell that it's a neo-vagina, right? Yes. So what's the difference? Really, what's the difference? There isn't one. There isn't a difference, right? Like, there's no... Like, what is it? There isn't one. You can't get me pregnant. Good for you. That's great. I don't know. I don't think that's something that I would ever... It's very valid of my friend to do that. She's well within her right. I'm also not attracted to men, so I don't really think I'm ever going to have that problem. But I think a lot of trans women have this idea of stealth being a priority. Stealth is a term that you honestly don't hear as much these days. Stealth meaning like exactly that, right? No one knows you're trans. You are so passing. Your voice is perfect. You either you've had facial feminization surgery or you just have a naturally like more feminine looking face that reads feminine, or estrogen did a lot of work or whatever. And when you go to the grocery store and check out, the cashier just reads you as woman, doesn't think twice about it. That's what passing means. And so many trans women see that as like the goal, which is, again, totally valid. But I think that goal is rooted in two things. The first is the pursuit of gender euphoria, right? That no one sees you as a trans woman. They actually just see you as a cis woman, and therefore, for better or for worse, maybe respect you more, or, have less qualms with you. or gender euphoria in the way that's like, you know, you just look the way you want to. But really, I think it's the former, where it's like it's more of a society thing as opposed to a you thing. That stealth is a means to protecting yourself and being respected and being able to live a normal life, as opposed to like a life where you are an outcast. I think that's probably the predominant reason that so many trans women seek like stealth passing. I don't know if that's something I'm really particularly interested in. I know I don't pass. My comment section reminds me every day. I kid. They do, but it's okay. I know I don't because of my voice. I think there are a couple physical attributes that maybe might make me not pass, but I think if my voice were to be different, I might pass sometimes. Some of the time. Some of the time. But we shouldn't have to pass. I think so many outsiders looking in will look at like the trans community and say, or I'll get a lot of comments sometimes like, why don't you change your voice? Right? Why don't you change your voice? And I think the bigger thing they're asking there is, why aren't you stealth? Why aren't you trying to like not be trans or not appear trans? Because the goal obviously would be to not appear trans, right? Why is that? It's because internalized transphobia, something we all grapple with, that being trans is bad, right? It's that gut core thing we're all taught from like an early age. I don't know why I feel like I'm on a soapbox right now. It's a Saturday morning. Why not? So yeah, I'm excited to get my Gucci Coochie. It's going to be fun. I'm not going to miss penetrating people at all. I've had some good times penetrating people. I've done it plenty. I think at this point, my body count is probably in the triple digits. Not to brag, just to say that I've taken it as far as I can go. I've done what I can. The extended warranty is ending, and it's time to upgrade to a new model. I wonder, in terms of orgasm, where it's going to land for me. Orgasm is definitely possible post-bottom surgery. In fact, likely that it's going to happen. Be able to orgasm. It's just going to be different. With Katie, she, in the time we were together, was unable to achieve orgasm even on her own. Because when we actually met and hooked up the very first day she was cleared by her doctor to be able to have sex, which was fun. It takes a while, even at the 6 months mark. Like typically, post bottom surgery, it's like about a year out, you're able to have orgasms again. So maybe Katie, wherever she is now, has finally gotten there herself. Over the 6 months we were together, she actually got she got closer and closer. Definitely got closer. I could see it kind of getting there. And I saw her healing as well, which was fascinating. So I have a pretty good idea of how things are going to be for me. I'm pretty excited, y'all. I'm very excited. We'll come back and say hi to Angie, show off the new Gucci Coochie. What other questions do you think people would have about bottom surgery? Orgasm. Well, there's there's no natural pH. That's a little bit different. The taste is definitely different. Can't confirm that. Depth, dilation. There's some good stuff. So yeah. First though, taste. Obviously, I've tasted much Gucci, both Gucci and non-Gucci Coochie in my life. More non-majority. And of course, everyone tastes different. Everyone tastes good. Usually. Sometimes hygiene is an issue, but usually not. Usually it's like, it's good. But it was a very unique taste with Katie because, again, the natural pH is not there, right? pH, of course, is acidity. And I guess, I don't even know what's the opposite of a neo-vagina? Natal vagina, maybe? One that you're born with? There's a whole, like, system set up. It's like a self-cleaning system that keeps that area a lower pH so that you're less likely to get like infections and stuff. That's not the case with a neovagina. I don't necessarily think that leads to like that many more UTIs or anything. From what I've read, it's not really an issue. Katie got one while we were together, but honestly, that was kind of on her. She took too long to go to the doctor and it got bad. Anyways, so yeah, taste is one thing. Also, dilation. I totally forgot to tell you about dilation. Okay. If you think about the tube that is going to be flipped inside out, there's only so much length there, right? I would say that when I am erect, and I'm going to be totally honest here, I'm not trying to inflate, pun intended, anything here, 6 inches, roughly. So that means that like when you flip it inside out, that's 6 inches of depth. I guess they can make it longer if they use like other skin possibly. But sometimes if you have like a 3-inch one, you might need, that might be a shorter, more shallow depth, or maybe they use your scrotum to like lengthen it. I'm not sure. But the idea of depth is relevant here because there's not really like a cervix in the same way. It's all created. So you don't want a shallow vagina necessarily because you want to have intercourse with people. There is a zero depth option when you get a vaginoplasty, one that does not require hair removal because there's nothing getting turned inside out. They essentially just like kind of create like a cosmetic coochie for you, like you can't go inside of it. It's just kind of like you know how in North Korea they have those like fruit stands that actually, where it's just like pictures of oranges that they take, like fake oranges that they take pictures of to say they have fruit in North Korea. It's like that. There's no actual, yeah. Anyways, that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing the full depth. So when you create a canal inside of yourself, or when the surgeon does, especially in the early days, the body's trying to heal, so it can close up, and you don't want it to close up. You want to maintain all that depth that you worked so hard for and went through so much for. And the way you do that is by dilating. Dilating, of course, in pregnancy terms, if you're giving birth, refers to the width at which your vaginal canal has dilated, I believe. How like wide it is because the baby's coming. Same thing here of like, you must put something inside of the canal, keeping it wide so it doesn't close up. And there's a whole set of dilators that has different colors. That is almost kind of like a language amongst trans women who have had this. And I am privy to it because I saw Katie dilate a couple times, at least, many times. Orange is the biggest. I think turquoise is the one below that. And I'm not sure what the rest are. But they're like color coded. And they look like dildos, but they are not fun like dildos. You would think putting the dilator in, it's like, oh, fun. No, not fun. You are recovering from surgery to begin with. And also, these are not like usually a dildo has got some give to it, like it's softer or smushy, right? It's like silicone, or this is hard plastic. Even if you use like a glass dildo, I guess maybe that's slightly different, but and it's not like you're moving it in and out. You're literally just like sliding it in and leaving it there for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. The idea being that you're remove any sort of like closing up that has been happening with your body is prevented. In the first, I believe in the first week of having a neovagina, you are you have like surgical gauze or stuffing in there, so you're not dilating the first week. But then you go back and you get it removed, and then you start dilating. It's uncomfortable from what I hear, from what I've seen. It's not like painful, it's just uncomfortable. And it also takes a lot of time. You have to do it, I think, 3 times a day for the first, like, I don't know, 6 months or something. And then even then, you have to keep doing it forever. This is one of the things that a lot of transphobes like to point out as like why this surgery is a bad idea. Of course, they're wrong. The amount of gender euphoria one feels from having a vagina is so exponentially more than the added chore you have of like dilating, right? And like think about it this way. 20, 30 minutes a day where you're sitting, maybe you're lying in bed. You have a thing inside of you, but you know, maybe you're listening to a podcast or scrolling. Like who among us do not spend like 30 minutes 3 times a day doing nothing, lying down, looking at your phone? Angie, would you say that there's on a given day you spend an hour and a half doing nothing, lying around?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do.
On a Saturday, like a lazy Saturday? I think so.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. And also over time you can do it slightly less, like maybe once a day. I even read a comment on Reddit the other day, maybe it was last night, of a woman who was 20 years post-op. She had her operation 20 years ago. And she said at that point, like, she didn't need to dilate at all, and she wasn't losing depth, which makes sense. I think it's kind of like an ear piercing where eventually you'll get to a point, but I think it takes years. So dilation will be a big part of things. Once I have my bottom surgery, that will be a big part of it. So yeah, that's kind of the skinny on that. We talked about dilation. I don't know. Today I'm really just feeling like thinking about it and talking about it. Any other things people you think might wonder, Angie? Talk orgasm, clitoris, maybe.
Oh, they might, yes.
There's kind of a clitoris, kind of. I mean, there definitely is a clitoris, and they call it a clitoris, but it's like, you know, you don't have an actual nerve tissue that you're born with that is the same sort of thing. It's similar though. What they'll do is they'll take the skin from under the head of the penis, like I don't even know what you call that. You know, there's the head and then there's the shaft, and underneath, like on the bottom side, there's like that little ridge in there that's like very sensitive. That is the skin they'll use for the clitoris. And that's more sensitive. And I don't know, I'm trying to think what I've read. When trans girls do eventually get to a place where they can orgasm, I think it's more internal stimulation as opposed to clitoral stimulation, because you still have the prostate in there. That's the thing. In fact, if I recall correctly, with Katie's surgery, they slightly shifted her prostate in orientation so that she would get it. It would be stimulated when she had penetrative vaginal sex and less like anal stuff, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if they're going to do that for me or not. I'm not sure if that's like a normal procedure. She also had a slightly different kind of bottom surgery called the perineum pull-through, which uses abdominal muscles as the lining instead. There's no turning inside out for her. They used a different. They used tissue from her abdomen as opposed to tissue from her cake pop stick, which I learned requires a robot. Did you know that? There's a robot. Then there's like a robot technician that is required, which is why it's slightly more of an expensive surgery. And I learned actually that it was a surgery that was developed in India because I don't know why India in particular, but there's a condition with cis women where the vaginal canal will be closed up. I don't know if it's at birth or not, but it's just completely closed. How do you open that up? Well, they don't have any extra skin. They don't have like a cake pop stick to use to perform that. So what they would do is they would use abdominal tissue and literally pull it down through to make a vaginal canal for those cis women who didn't have one. And that eventually is now used as like a trans technique as well. So anyways. Oh, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to tell you, but to follow up on last episode, I was wondering, after 4 hours of electrolysis, would I be able to have sexy times with Evie? Now Angie is excited.
I'm glad you had no bad reaction.
The answer is yes, I did. I was successful. We met up and we did things in my apartment, and it was fun. It was very fun. We had a blast. See, now she and Rosemary and I, so Evie's dating Rosemary. I go on dates with Rosemary too, but they're like in love. You know what I'm saying? Like Rosemary and Evie are in love. I'm not in love with either of them. I think they're both really hot and really nice, and I like them both. But they're like a thing, right? I go on dates with both of them. But then the three, it's gonna happen eventually. There was some talk last night, Angie. There was so the three of us have like a little text thread, and I sent a little saucy picture in there last night to both of them, and I was like, "Hey, you two, eyebrow waggle, when is this happening?" Because we had discussed it a little bit before, like me, Rosemary, Evie, doing fun things together. We're gonna get there. It will happen eventually. It's really just a matter of when it works for everyone. You have 3 schedules. You got to set up a sexy date with 3 people. You got 3 calendars. It's not 2 calendars normally. You got 3 calendars now. It's a lot. We're all working women. Rosemary's got a big girl job. So does Evie. So does Lily. They all got big girl jobs. Yeah. Anyways, that's the update. Anything else that updating you on? Other dates? No, I took the last week off. It's really not all that much to report. I haven't really been streaming. I've been recovering, relaxing, rejuvenating, resting. Been watching a lot of Dimension 20. It's a D&D show. It's very good, very emotional. I almost cried a couple times last night. It's very good. I highly recommend if you like D&D content, Dimension 20. Even if you don't, it's very accessible and fun. Yeah, I'm going to meet Felicity for dinner tonight. We'll see where we go. That'll be fun. Felicity, of course, Felicity from Stream. Friend on Stream. Platonic friend, of course. She is married. Yeah. All right. I think that's probably a good place to end it. Thank you to all of the TikTok and Patreon subscribers. If you want to support this podcast, you can subscribe on patreon.com/LilyTino. Or if you want to watch one of my live streams on TikTok, you can subscribe there. It is double the cost on TikTok because TikTok takes half of the subscription cost. So even though you're paying $10 a month there, I only get 5. Ooh, that's a spicy one. It's a spicy one. I also have merch. lilycantino.com/merch. There's a Nugget for President mug. That's a fun one. A very cute picture of Nugget for President. I'm also on Cameo. If you want a personalized message from me. Yeah. Cool. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, stay lovely.